to the one person watching. Hey, is that Justin? I'm all right, Justin. Can you hear me okay? Trying to get this thing figured out. All right, cool. I'm gonna have to stay by my house, I guess, because it's not working on the data. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to get in here. I don't expect there to be too many, but let a few more people come in. It is the middle of the day. I'm okay. I'm okay. More than okay. I'm very, very, very lucky because the storm completely missed me here in South Florida. And usually we're the magnet for all these storms. They all come straight for us. So feel horrible for the people on the West Coast in the Fort Myers area. I've got some friends out there I've been talking to, and they're bracing for it. It's making landfall now. And I think we're going to see devastation like never before from the storm because, you know, the last major hurricane we had here in South Florida was Hurricane Andrew in '92. But Hurricane Andrew was a much smaller storm. This storm is much wider, the eye. And you also look at where the storm is hitting, which is Fort Myers area. And that area, the homes over there, a lot of the homes are not built for these kind of storms. Here in South Florida, we build our homes out of CBS concrete construction, even 60 plus years ago, like my house is. And they can withstand. This home of mine survived Hurricane Andrew without a scratch. Didn't lose the roof, didn't lose anything because it was built to withstand those kinds of storms. Because here in South Florida, we've been having major hurricanes for, you know, at least in modern civilization, with this area being inhabited well over 100 years, and we have them quite often. But the Fort Myers area, of course, they get hurricanes, but I think the last major hurricane that Fort Myers had was like of this magnitude, was like when it was just a small little fishing village. So the homes there are not built to withstand a storm like this. I was just speaking with a friend of mine who has a property on Sanibel Island, which is right off Fort Myers, and it's a wood home, it's a stilt home. I mean, the stilts may help it with the storm surge, but she thinks that house is done for. So very unfortunate, but I'm very fortunate in that the storm missed me, but you might be able to hear it in the background, the wind. We get the bands. You can see the bushes blowing behind me here. We get the bands of the storm, and it's been that way now for over 24 hours, but nothing severe by any means. So for those of you asking, those of you just joining, I'm more than fine. Really, us in South Florida are the most fortunate of the entire state besides the Panhandle. This really isn't affecting us at all. Just some gusts. We've had gusts for the past 12 hours or more, you know, if I had to estimate, in the 40-mile-an-hour range. So it will take down some tree branches, and so I had to spend several hours yesterday moving all my cars. I usually have them parked. I have a lot of trees on my property, and in the summer months, I like to use those trees to shade my vehicles, protect the paint. It's kind of a give or take because it shades my vehicles, but I also get sap and crap and branches that will fall on them. But small branches, they don't do any damage. But with a storm like this, you know, even though we're just getting the outer bands of it and just getting some tropical storm force gusts at the most, it will take down branches, and it did. And I got very lucky again because yesterday morning when I got up, looked out the window, and a big branch had fallen from my trees back here where I keep all my nicer cars and missed them by a few feet. I appreciate that guy, and that's why I'm doing this live update here, because I've received a lot of messages and email from folks, which I'm humbled by. I appreciate that you guys care about weird old Big Al over here. But a lot of people asking if I'm okay, and you know, obviously if you're not from Florida or familiar with Florida, you know, the media, the national media tends to blow these things out of proportion, and they make it sound like the entire state of Florida is in turmoil. But we're okay here in southeast Florida. Southwest Florida, which is where the eye of the storm is hitting pretty much right now, that area is in big trouble. As I was saying earlier in the stream, this is the most extreme hurricane that Southwest Florida has seen in really modern history, in terms of the size and the wind speed and the storm surge especially. And as I said before, the homes there just are not built for this kind of weather like they are here in Southeast Florida. So I hate to say it, but I think we're going to see probably the most extensive hurricane damage. I hope to God I'm wrong. I hope to God I'm wrong. But I think we're going to end up seeing the most extensive hurricane damage the state of Florida has ever seen in modern history, because this storm is so much larger than Hurricane Andrew was for us here in South Florida. And my area, where I live in South Florida, was the most heavily impacted. It was where the eye of Andrew came through in '92. And we had a lot of destruction here. And that's always been, you know, the big one, the big storm that everybody refers to in talking about hurricanes in Florida. But this may outdo it. Again, not as strong of winds, but the magnitude of the storm, the sheer size of the storm, and the storm surge in an area like Fort Myers is just not equipped for this. I'm worried. I'm definitely concerned. I have a fair amount of friends out there, and even friends up in the Tampa Bay area, and you know they're certainly not going to get a an easy time out of this storm either. So, but this was just for me to provide an update for those of you who have reached out. I'm more than okay. Pretty much the worst of what we were going to get here in I say Southeast Florida for those of you who aren't familiar with Florida. This is called South Florida, and then the Fort Myers, Naples area is called Southwest Florida. But just for those of you who aren't familiar with Florida that much, I'll call this Southeast Florida, right? We're fine. I mean, we've had gusty winds like you see behind me for the past 24 plus hours, but I think it's now that the storm is moving more northeast. It's north of us, and we're just getting the last bands from it. I think by 5 o'clock today, my area is going to be done with this. I mean, the sky's even a little bit light. So I'm relieved. When this storm was initially being talked about, it looked like it may be hitting us directly here in South Florida as at least a Category 3. I certainly wasn't prepared for a Category 3, which is not that big of a deal. A Category 3, it's not the kind of storm you evacuate for, but you know, all the crap I have all over my property, cars and parts and junk. I'm a bit of a hoarder, if you couldn't tell. And those things don't like to be outside during a major storm. But as I was saying, what I had to do is I had to move all my cars out from underneath my trees. Even with just tropical storm force gusts like this, you'll get branches down, and I did get branches down. Nothing major, because I trimmed, you can actually kind of see it. Just by coincidence, like a month ago, I trimmed back these trees from my house a bit, and fortunately the branches I trimmed are all the really unhealthy ones. So I'm glad I did that, because I'm sure those would have came crashing down on my roof. Well, that's that. I guess I've probably yapped enough about the storm. I'll give you guys a quick few updates here. How do I turn this around? You hear that wind, but the sun's coming out now. You know, like I said, this is about the tail end of what we were going to get here in South Florida. And sorry, I haven't read most of your comments in the live chat here. I'm terrible at multitasking, and if I was trying to read those and film at the same time, I'd probably have a brain freeze. So I'll take a look at those comments here in a minute. The Ranger over here, I know I haven't done a second video on it yet. It took me a while to get the parts I need. There's nothing major wrong with it. It runs and drives. I drive it quite a bit, just locally, until I take care of what I'm about to mention, the issue it needs sorted, which is the, well, you remember me, if you watched the video, you might remember me talking about it. The transmission was a bit sluggish going into drive and reverse, and I wasn't crazy about the 3 to 4 shift. It was, again, a little slow. So I did a lot of research on this. It's fairly common with these ZF transmissions that these Range Rovers have. They're actually very robust transmissions. At least this Z8, this is the 6-speed. They're very robust, but you got to change the fluid. And if you don't change the fluid, the transmission's not going to fail on you, but it'll do what mine's doing. It'll start getting a bit sluggish between changes and a little lurchy. So I'm waiting on one more piece of the puzzle to get that done. It's quite an extensive service process to do the transmission work on the Sport. If this was the regular full-size Range Rover, it's fairly easy, but the Sport, there's a cross member and the exhaust and a bunch of crap in the way of the transmission pan. Of course, you know, you guys all know, I don't have to tell you, these are way over-engineered, but it's beautiful. Just look at it. And it's dirty right now. I mean, this thing really was in phenomenal shape for what I paid for it. Always garaged. I mean, look at the headlights. I never touched those. I had to get a transmission pan conversion kit. There's a little small company out of New Jersey that makes these kits. It changes your transmission pan, and you got to like hacksaw out the old filter. It's a little bit of a job to do a transmission service on this, but I'm gonna do it. I have everything else to do it, the proper fluid, the ZF LifeGuard 6. And from what I've read, that should cure the slow shifting. And then I got another issue after that with this thing, which I noticed after filming that video, the first video, which is that the rear differential, I guess another common issue on these, big surprise, right? The rear differential is making quite a bit of noise when you're decelerating. So I will check the pinion, whatever the heck. I'm live streaming here, so I got three brain cells, and I'm only firing on one. But I'll check, make sure everything is snug as it should be. But I have a feeling it's probably just a bad diff. It was never. I'm sure the fluid was never changed, and that will kill the diffs on these. So a little labor intensive to swap the differential, but I can get one from even LKQ for under $200. So parts cheap, labor's a bit much. But I'm going to do the transmission service first, and then I'll see, make sure that transmission's working okay. I mean, there's always a risk with servicing a transmission that hasn't been serviced, or in a long time at least, that, you know, especially with a pan drop, very unlikely, but it can happen that it'll start slipping afterwards. So it certainly happened to me on a few vehicles. Usually that's when you got a problem and you've waited too long to address it. This one still shifts perfectly, just a little slow. But I want to make sure it shifts okay, and if it does, then I will do the rear diff, and it'll probably be one thing after another after that. But as I said in that first video, this is just a toy for me. I absolutely love this thing. Just look at how nice she looks next to the Escalade. So it's okay for it to be broken. It just needs to not be too broken. And the other thing I got to figure out is the air suspension. Sometimes it'll lean a bit to the passenger side, as you can see right now. And then if I don't know, there's no leak or anything. I read online it needs to be recalibrated because the previous owner changed the air strut on this side. And I'm guessing they probably didn't have it recalibrated, and that can cause it to act a little wacky. But once I get in it and drive it for a few minutes, it figures itself out and it levels out. So it's not a huge deal. I also had a little F up the other day and bumped into one of my other cars with it when I was maneuvering in a tight spot. So I was cussing for about 10 minutes after that happened, because you can see otherwise it's in beautiful shape. But let me get back to, I'm not going to be on here too long because my battery was already low when I started this. Sun's coming out now. This was, for those of you who might have jumped in between my ramble there about the Range Rover, this was just an update. I've received a lot of outreach, and I really appreciate it. People asking how I am. Perfectly fine. My area of Florida was one of the only areas that was spared by the storm, but you may be able to hear the wind. We did get the bands of the storm. Probably 20 minutes before I started this stream, it was really gusty out here, and then it goes away because the band moves on. Now we get the sun poking through. And we'll probably get maybe one more band as this storm keeps moving north on the west coast, and that will probably be it. So I did just fine over here. Very grateful that the storm did not come to us like it was supposed to initially, albeit as a Category 3. But you know, with all the crap I have laying around, the last thing I was prepared for was a a hurricane of any sort. So very, very fortunate that the storm didn't come to me, and I feel horrible for all my friends out in the Fort Myers area and the Tampa Bay area. I was saying this before, for those of you who might have hopped on afterwards. I gotta remember, I gotta stay next to my house because I'll disconnect from the Wi-Fi. I'm starting to wander now. I think this storm could be, and I haven't, I was watching the news till about 30 minutes ago. I think this storm could end up being, for Southwest Florida, the most devastating storm it's ever seen in its modern history, since it was just a small little fishing town like 100 plus years ago. So not good. And the thing I keep reiterating to a lot of people who are asking me about this is, as I know a fair bit about construction, the homes out there, a lot of the homes out there are not built to withstand storms like this. So this could end up being a more destructive storm, especially in terms of, how much monetary destruction, how much it will cost to rebuild. This could end up being a more devastating storm than Hurricane Andrew for us here in South Florida in '92. And that's pretty remarkable, because Hurricane Andrew is what we all call the big one. When people talk about bad hurricanes, that's the one everybody thinks of. So to think that this could end up, being worse than Andrew, the wind speeds are not as high, but the storm surge, there's a lot of storm surge on the entire West Coast, really up to Tampa Bay. And, again, the homes out there just aren't built for this kind of weather. When Andrew hit here in '92, there was a lot of shoddy construction down here in South Dade. But there was also a lot of older homes like mine that were built like fortresses back in the '60s at a CBS and poured concrete. So my home did fine, as did most of the older homes down here. But all the crappy Lennar homes that were built in the '80s, those things, came down like a stack of cards. So anyways, I'm going to jump off here in a minute, but let me, you know what? I owe it to you. Let me read the comments here. How do I do this? I think this is the second time I've ever done a live. Chat viewing options, top chat, live chat. I want to see everything. All right, here we go. Whoa. And a lot of you on here. I appreciate it. Storm passed over. Yeah, it really never even came to us. We had to move all my cars away from the trees. Quite a lengthy process, but I'm not complaining, because it could have been so much worse. And certainly if we had got hit with what Southwest Florida is getting hit with right now, I would have been in big trouble, because all these cars out here, no protection, I'd be in big trouble. Oh, where'd the chat go? Big Al, get with the program, multitask. Multitasking, research shows it's actually very bad for you. I used to be a big multitasker, and I was going a mile a minute, and that stress will eat you alive. So I've slowed down my life a lot. So I'm out in the country now, and trying to slow down and not burn out. Then again, I'm chasing around all these cars like an a-hole. Praying for me, thank you very much, but I don't need your prayers. Direct your prayers to Southwest Florida. They need it badly. And I'll probably try to head out there once the coast is clear. And obviously you want to let the folks who live out there get to their homes and their businesses first, but after they've gotten in, because I've got some friends out there, I want to go out there and offer them my help if I can. And some of them who are seasonal, so try to go check on their properties for them if there's even anything left, unfortunately. Hey Al, can't stay long. Thank you, Mr. Wesley Jack. But again, as I said, I'm perfectly fine. Just some gusty winds, nothing major. I mean, I probably shouldn't be standing underneath this big tree. We don't want to watch me get decapitated live. I had a big branch fall yesterday before I moved the cars, because I usually park a lot of my nicer cars here, keep them in the shade of the trees, but fell right about here. It's like the only spot I don't put any cars, because I use that to turn around and park them. So I got really lucky. Why does this chat keep closing? Okay, let me go back up. I just have to keep my thumb on it. Nice. I'm in South Carolina, so it's still nice here. Yeah, I think this is coming up toward you. So by the time it gets to you, you'll probably get what I got, which is just some tropical storm winds and some rain. We got lucky in one sense, besides what I've said 100 times, that we didn't get the actual hurricane, but we were supposed to get a lot of rain, a couple feet of rain, and that ended up not happening. We got a lot of rain yesterday. Today was supposed to continue with the rain. A lot of my older cars that the weather stripping is a little tired on, they won't leak unless it's a really torrential downpour, like this 98 Regency here. So I taped up. Hold on. All right, we're back. Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. Let me, you know what? Let me get right next to the house. What was I even saying? Doesn't matter. Let me take a look at the chat. Something about the weather stripping on the 98. Thank you for the stay safes. Range Rover, all right, well, I talked about that. Hopefully your comment came before I talked about that. That actually worked out great because I just talked about it randomly, and I guess HKM was wondering. Here just south of Ocala, we are already getting some wind and heavy rain. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely within the cone there, so good luck to you, you know? All the people saying stay safe to me, direct your attention to Mr. E. Meyer. Let's see. Use a magic eraser on this leather steering wheel. It works. What? I think Daniel's giving me a word of caution there about using a magic eraser. Don't worry, Daniel. I don't take care of my cars that well. I just leave them dirty. Dad and stepmom. John, hey John Hull. I always see you down in the comments. Dad and stepmom and friends from Lee County. Evacuation zone. They're riding it out 6 miles west. Woo, boy. Yeah, that's the thing, John. This storm, and it's inevitable with these hurricanes, they'll just jump around. You know, even as our technology gets better, they're still almost impossible to really predict down to the exact location they'll make landfall. But it seemed like yesterday that the hurricane was going to be really hitting Tampa dead on, and now it's you know, obviously Tampa Bay is still going to be getting some storm force winds, but really Fort Myers is taking the brunt of it now. So I'm so sorry to hear that, John. I hope they're safe. You know, that's at least they're not in the coast, I guess, with the storm surge. They've eliminated the risk of being caught in that. I already read Guy's comment. Thank you, Dominic. But like I said, I'll be all right. 14-foot storm surge. Yeah, that's what I've been seeing, John. That's crazy to think. You know, I go out to Naples more than Fort Myers, but I've been to Fort Myers Beach many times, and just to think that, you know, that whole area is not going to look the same ever again after this thing. It's kind of a sad thought. Big Al look like Magnum PI. I gotta wear this hat. It may seem goofy, but, you know, even with this cloud cover, I didn't wear it yesterday, and I still got sunburn. I'm very fair-skinned. The sun's very strong here in South Florida, and I'm not trying to age and look like a leather bag, or a leather seat. So I wear a lot of SPF, and I wear the hat. Although I probably look like crap today because I didn't sleep too well last night with the wind. The wind was really bad last night. I was trying to sleep. Actually, my girlfriend just texted me and said LaBelle is getting hit. That, for those of you who watch all the videos, you might recall, I don't know, what was it, 2 months ago or so, I picked up that caddy for Anthony, which was in the Fort Myers area. God, crazy to think. But one of the stops I made on that trip was in I wasn't in Fort Myers. Where the heck was I? It's just north of Naples, Estero. But LaBelle was one of the places I stopped to look at some cheap commercial real estate. And that area is getting hit right now, according to my girlfriend. And LaBelle is mostly, I don't want to say LaBelle is mostly, but there's a lot of mobile homes in LaBelle. So mobile homes and hurricanes don't mix at all. I mean, we had a little up in Broward County, there was a little twister last night, which inevitably there's a lot. I mean, a hurricane's basically a big giant tornado, right? But within hurricanes, we get a bunch of little ones. And even though we just got the bands of the storm out here, Broward County got a twister last night, and it damaged several. You hear that wind picking up now? It's throwing my. Woo! You guys hear that? See, we get the bands. This is our band coming through. The wind picks up, starts whistling. You can see the. Got a low battery warning. All right. Anyway, I'm rambling too much. Go to the seat shop. I don't remember talking about a seat. How's it going? I'm from Apopka, Florida. Apopka. I can never pronounce that one. Good, Sean. I hope you're staying safe. You're probably in the cone. That cone is really getting most of the state at this point, besides the Panhandle and me. Thank you, Ochi. Stay safe down there. Love your content. Appreciate it. Oh, that's you again, Sean. Thanks. Do I have power? I never lost power. And the area I live in usually is the first to lose power because there's so many trees out here. We're the last to get it back because we're so rural that no one really cares. So I thought for sure last night I'd be losing power, and I didn't. I had the lights flicker several times, but never lost power. Why did the chat... All right. Big Al, I hope you and your fleet survive. William, thank you. I don't even know what time it is at this point. That was at 3:07, William said that. But if you didn't hear me, the storm missed me basically entirely. We just got some tropical winds, so me and the fleet will be just fine. The fleet is all safely parked out back in my grove, away from any big trees and anything that would have hit them. Because you just never know. You know, the storm could have... We could have got, depending on where the storm moved last night, it did move a little bit closer to us. And so we did get a little bit stronger winds than they initially anticipated. But, for me, I like to be over-prepared. I just move the cars. If I know the winds are going to be anything over 30 miles an hour, I move the cars out from under the trees because all it takes is one big branch to fall, can total out a whole car. So, let's see. Greetings from the UK. Good choice in hat. Appreciate that. Z400B. And you being out in the UK, thanks for making those beautiful L320 Range Rovers. Even though they make us all want to scream. I hope Doc's Beach House in Bonita Springs makes it. Love the place. Yeah. God, I don't know. It's sad to think. It hasn't really hit me yet what's going on just a few hundred miles away from me. Do I think about the GMT 900 Silverado? I like them. I don't like the interiors. That's that bailout quality GM interior. The hard plastics are horrible. The seats aren't as comfortable. And then as you get later into those trucks with the 5.3, you get the active fuel management, and it's just one more thing to break, and it does. So I still prefer the 800s. I think they're a better looking truck. They're a little bit better built, in my opinion. But they're still very good trucks, the 900s. Let's see what else we got here. Still a heck of a lot of wind. It is. It was worse last night. It's definitely better now. But, like I said, it's enough wind to take down some branches and total some cars of mine. So, move to the Gulf Coast. We rarely... Yeah, John, I said that earlier in the stream. You guys rarely ever get hurricanes. And here you are getting a essentially a Category 5 just about. And you guys don't build your homes out there to withstand these storms. So it's going to be... this is going to be bad, I think. And I hope that by some miracle, I don't know. Maybe the storm will, it doesn't seem like it would, but maybe it'll quickly weaken and, not too much damage will be done. But that storm surge alone, that's going to do enough damage in itself. Let's see what else we got here. Northern Gulf Coast. Okay, I see your correction there now. Yeah, but I mean, really, Southwest Florida doesn't get too many hurricanes either, and here we are. So you guys could be next. I hate to say it. Do I have a generator? I don't. I should. I have a transfer switch for one, but I never put a generator in. I was woefully unprepared this season, and thankfully now we're basically at the end of hurricane season, and hopefully this is the last hurricane. and it missed me. So I'll have plenty of time to prepare for next year. Jack, it's going good. I'm very grateful. You know, how can I not be that this, I just noticed I've been pacing back and forth. I don't know, I can't sit still. I'm very grateful that the storm didn't hit me directly. That's all I can say. Very, very grateful. Or this would be a whole different stream. It'd be me hanging on for dear life, watching all my possessions get destroyed. So I'm very fortunate. YouTube sucks. They did not let me know I was well, geez, my problem is I'm my own worst enemy, because I'll come out and start making content, and then I get really busy and I don't make content for a while, and YouTube doesn't like that, and they won't boost me on the algorithm as far as I understand it. So I've got several videos from the past few weeks that I've done. I've been so busy I haven't had a chance to sit down and edit them, but I will. And if I keep that content coming, hopefully it'll help my channel. There goes the chat again. I have my thumb on it. I think I'm almost at the bottom here. I think most of you got tired of hearing me yap. I just bought one basically from the brochure. What are you referring to, the 900? Oh, something of mine just fell over. Probably junk anyway. I like my 336,000 miles E71. Oh yeah, it's a great vehicle, obviously. The miles testify to that, but you really can't beat the GMT 800 platform. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, I think, or 5. I think it's 6. Completely unnecessary, but I think you all know that I do a lot of things that are unnecessary on this channel. Should be okay. Newer concrete block home, a golf course. That's good. Hopefully it wasn't built by Lennar, because they don't put tie beams on their houses, which just blows my mind. We've been doing that with Mackle homes and stuff here in South Florida for like 70 years just about. But here you have Lennar not putting tie beams on brand new houses. I don't know. Yep, my dad's E21 Tahoe had to get a new engine due to active fuel management. And the dash cracked. Oh yeah, those dashboards, just like the one in my Range Rover, they just disintegrate. Actually, the one in my Yukon was really bad, but that thing sat out in the sun for years, not being driven. So that's the first one I've ever seen on an 800 that's cracked. But then I went to the junkyard to get another dash pad for the Yukon, and every single one at the junkyard had a cracked dash. So I guess I just take better care of my 800s. I always keep a reflective barrier on the dash. What do I think of the old ZX2 Escorts? They're pretty cool. Definitely a radical body design. I remember when those things were brand new. I was young, but they definitely stood out. Most Ford products did in the 90s. They were so bubbly and everything else was very square. But I've always been a very boxy vehicle kind of guy, so I never liked the bubbly Fords that much. But they're good cars. I know that much. So I've sold a number of I've sold a number of them over the years. They're good cars, just good basic transportation. And the ZX2 gives them a little bit of a sporty flair. Thank you, Arthur. I'll be all right. Don't worry. You need the Yukon I just got? $4,000, and maybe more. I don't know. I haven't evaluated the market in my area too much. I've just been so busy, but I have gotten some things done on it, like the dash pad. I don't want to give too much away. And I've also been working on another vehicle I picked up. Well, I picked up, screw it, there's only, you know what though, if I go out there I'm going to lose you guys, because I'm on Wi-Fi, and I don't have any cell. I live out in the middle of nowhere. I don't have any cell service, so sorry, but I did buy something new that's really cool, and I think you guys will be very surprised. Not new like brand new, but new to me. Totally impulse buy. I was doing my usual estate sale run this past Saturday, and there it was in the driveway, and I left with it 10 minutes later, and it's nuts what I got for what I paid. I'll give you a hint, it's a very different engine that I usually deal with. I'll leave it at that. Do I still have the TI? I do. I would love to show you, but I know if I go over there I'm going to disconnect. I do still have it. I had, for the longest time, had a weird issue with it. I've put 2 alternators in it, and not reman ones either. I know better than that. Well, then again, I'm putting junkyard alternators in, but I you know, 2 alternators and it's still not charging the batteries. So I don't know if I get an issue somewhere with a wiring problem or something. I don't know. I haven't had the time to look into it, but the car's doing fine otherwise. Engine tick 08. So that's what? It's got AFM, right? I found some captain's chairs for my 2004 for $180. They bolted right in. That's awesome, man. Tesla. Yeah. I'm just an old school guy. I like old everything. I've always lived in the past. You know, I always tell everybody I was born at the wrong time because I hate everything new, for the most part. Even though here I am on an iPhone, whatever. But some things are just necessary evil. But Tesla, I mean, they're obviously pretty impressive vehicles. They do have a lot of quality control issues with the bodies and the interiors, but you know, you can't knock them that hard. It's just not my thing. You know, I'm accustomed to internal combustion engines, or ICE as the Tesla guys call them. That's my thing. I like land yachts. I don't really like cars that are so focused on performance. I've heard they're quite comfortable, the Teslas, because they have air suspension, but it's just not my thing, you know? And you guys know me, I'm cheap. I like to buy $300 Cadillacs, not $30,000 Teslas. And $30,000, good luck. Even that won't happen these days. I think I just got a text from a very good friend of mine, my good friend Anthony, Specialty Motor Cars. I think he's tuned in. I just saw him send a screenshot of my beautiful face. Here he is. Hold on, let me see what he said. Yo, Big Al. What up, Anthony? Hold on. This chat is, stay still. Sorry, Anthony, I gotta read what Ryan said here because it has something to do with an Explorer, and I got something right here to show him. My 93 Explorer's dash is perfect. They made those dashboards pretty well on those trucks. What the heck? Freaking chat. I've been truly blessed at finding parts of the Explorer. So Ryan, check this out. I have a full 93 Limited Explorer interior I got from LKQ like a month ago. And I got it, it was like $200 for everything. And the seats, look at the piping, the leather, perfect condition. Door panels, the carpet was so clean. What a shame it was at the junkyard and you can't get, freaking chat, whatever. You can't save cars from LKQ once they're there. So look at the carpet. I mean, it was immaculate. So I got the whole interior out of a 93 Limited. What the heck I'm going to do with it, I don't know. I have an XLT in the interior, and that's really cool. It's got a very rad looking, like 80s style interior, like red piping and stripes. So, and it's in good shape. So I hate to put this interior in that. I'm hoping that I'll come across a really roached out Limited here in Florida with a sun-baked interior and put this one in it. But I had to save it from the junkyard. I couldn't leave it there. It would have been it would have been an absolute travesty for this to end up destroyed. All right, let's see what's going on here. Appreciate all the comments, guys. This is awesome. I didn't mean to be on here so long. If my phone dies, the hurricane didn't get me. No engine tick. Gotcha, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, I think at 08, you might not have AFM, or maybe it was an option. I'm not as familiar with 900s. The storm is sure making it cold and windy here in East Tennessee. Can you guys hear the wind, by the way? It's picking back up again for me. Yeah, you know what? Stuck Out West. I like that name. The storm has made it cool here, too, and I can appreciate that because we have had the hottest summer on record here in South Florida. And tomorrow it's supposed to be back in the 90s again. So I'm definitely enjoying this nice breeze and the cooler air. I wish it would stick around, but not the storm. Although it will be cool here soon enough. All right, I got to see what poor Anthony said here. I know he's got things to do. He can't be waiting for me to respond. Thank you, Thomas. Time to trade them all in for a nice, reliable Toyota. Come on, Anthony. You just busting my balls. And remember, I do have a nice, reliable Toyota. I've got my 4Runner, which is far more reliable than any new Toyota. And I'm not saying new Toyotas are bad, but they ain't what they used to be. Like any car, because now you have to put too much technology and safety into them, and it's just more stuff to break. My 4Runner continues to do great. It's one of my daily drivers. I've put probably 10,000 miles on it now. Just awesome truck. It never needs anything. Let's see what else. You need a restraint box, dark metallic blue short bed. For what? Oh, for your truck. Yeah, if that's a 900 you're talking about, good luck. Those short beds. I was just having this conversation actually with a friend of mine last night, and those beds are impossible to get, especially if we're up in the Rust Belt. Hey, my boy Unwrecked, what's going on? Stay safe. You have cars to sell. I should sell more than I keep, but you are correct. I do have a few I'm going to be selling, one being that Yukon. But I will be fine down here. If you just tuned in, we didn't get the storm here where I am in South Florida. We just got some tropical storm gusts. That's it. So I'll be all right. Keep your thoughts and prayers to the people in Southwest Florida. And Tampa Bay. They're in big trouble. I touched on it earlier. They're in big, big trouble. Lived in Boynton Beach and worked at Lake Worth Power Plant. Oh, no kidding. I've got a buddy who works for FPL. I'm not sure if Lake Worth and Boynton Beach are under FPL. I'm pretty sure they are. So he's probably been to that power plant at some point. And he's actually, even though he lives here where I live, they sent him out to Naples to handle all the power outages they're going to have out there. I hate that hurricane because it made things feel colder up here and got my joints aching. Well, John, you need to be living in Florida. Although I think, was it you, John, that said you were up in the North Gulf Coast area? I don't know. I feel like it was a John. YouTube hates us because they ain't us. Well, they kind of are us, because without YouTube, we ain't doing what we're doing. So, but yeah, they definitely don't make it easy for us to grow our channels. I can hear that wind whistling now. We trade them in for a Brougham. Come on, man. I've got the real caddies over here, the front wheel drives. Those are the real specialty cars. Alante and Spring Edition, Seville, 4.9 Seville. Those are the real caddies. My people know that. Those Broughams are just big, giant boat anchors on wheels. Is that the real Unwrecked? I know, right? He's Mr. Hollywood now. I rarely hear from him anymore. He's big time. He's got a few thousand more subscribers than me now. Big time. Or maybe it's Roberto, according to the imposter. What's up, Reaper? I stole that Explorer interior. I sure did, John. I was shocked what they sold me that for. And now it's just sitting out my porch. But I just got to find an Explorer to put it in now, because I ain't put it in mine. I have a love-hate thing with Explorers. I had a 92, always left me stranded. Oh, it was a first... No, actually, 91 was the first year. So I guess I was going to say it was a first-year truck, but I guess I can't give the truck an excuse. I've had fairly good luck with them. The old Cologne 4.0, great engine, very simple, very reliable. The later ones with the single overhead cam, not so much with the timing chain problems, but... all the first gen Explorers, really all the Explorers up until they made them unibody, the transmissions were always a weak point. Hey man, awesome to finally catch you live. Well, Kenneth, I think this is the second one I've ever done, so appreciate you making it. Been a fan for a few years, really dig my eclectic car collection. I appreciate that, man. It definitely is a collection to be seen. Definitely a unique collection. The 90s 4Runners were the GOAT. My mom used to own one, love that damn car. Yeah, you know, I'm not like a Toyota fanboy. I'll never knock Toyota, especially in the 90s. Their cars were, a lot of the GM products in the 90s, in my opinion, especially the early 90s, late 80s, I would say were just as good. And some people are going to roll their eyes, but I mean, we're talking about the old 350, we're talking about the 3800, the 3300, the Iron Duke. I mean, so many good engines. Well, I think the Duke at that point was pretty much phased out. We were with the 2200. But GM made some great engines, and that's why you still see so many of these front-wheel drives rolling around. Most of them now, unfortunately, are owned by tweakers and their beaters. But that's even a further testament to just how reliable they are. I mean, they're just still going, even though they haven't had an oil change since the 2 presidencies ago. But the 90s Toyotas were great. I mean, you can't knock them, especially Lexus. Man, they came here and they shook things up with that LS400. Heck of a car. I've had a few. I absolutely love them. But the reason I don't buy too many Toyotas is you pay the Toyota tax. They're too expensive. I can get like 3 awesome GM cars for the price of 1 Toyota, and it's going to have high miles. Not that I care about mileage, but especially when I was, full time in the car business, when I had my own dealership, I always hated to buy Toyotas. I wouldn't, because you're competing against every other friggin' dealer. They all want Toyotas, they all want Hondas, they're all overpaying for them. So I was just picking up the Cavaliers and the LeSabres and stuff that nobody wanted for, a tenth the price, and still doing really well on them. Let's see what else we got. A lot of comments, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm trying to read these a little bit quicker because I know my battery's going to end up giving up the ghost here soon. Let me see. Old 90s Camrys. Yep, great car. I bought one from, before I was doing Copart videos, I bought from Copart a 90s Camry. It had the timing belt broke, and it's non-interference, so just threw a timing belt water pump in it, and off she went. Although I really prefer cars with timing chains, which is pretty much everything GM. Obviously, there's some exceptions, like the 3.4, that crazy 3.4, I think it's a dual overhead cam, that was in the Lumina, the Z34. Those had a timing belt. I'm sure there's other ones I'm not thinking of. Take it easy. I got to drive home from work. Keep your feet dry. All right, brother. Appreciate it. Don't worry. Like I said, I'm just getting, you can hear the winds. Here, let me show you what's, I can't go too far away from my house because I'll lose the, whoa. See, we're getting another band right now. Holy stuff. That's a pretty good gust right there. I'll tell you that. It's forcing this door shut on me. So, if this looks and sounds extreme to you, imagine what they're getting right now. Yeah, you're definitely getting a band right now. Imagine what they're getting over in Southwest Florida. God, I've been through a number of hurricanes, so I feel for the folks up there. It really changes your life forever in your community. And my area here in South Florida was really never the same after Andrew, and that was 30 years ago. So I can only imagine what this is going to do to the Gulf Coast. It's horrible to even think about. Let me bring this back in. Look at my tired eyes. Whoa! Oh, I'm going to be out here in the wind. So I got a 10% warning on my battery, just so you guys know. But so I'll try to wrap this up. But the guys on the news that are always trying to brace themselves from the wind, and you'll see somebody walk by perfectly normal in the background. I mean, sometimes they're being truthful, but sometimes they're pushing for views. Don't we all, though, right? All right, hang on. Anthony just said something. Any updates on new vehicles? No, Anthony, I haven't talked about. Obviously, Anthony's a good friend of mine, so obviously we're always chatting and working together on stuff, and he knows what's shown up at Big Al's Bike and Auto lately. I think you'll all be very surprised what I bought over the weekend, and I'm looking very forward to bringing it to you. Now let me read these comments quick, because I know this battery's going to go. I'm surprised it lasted this long, to be honest. The limited interiors are always trash. Exactly. So for that one to survive, especially in Florida, it was a Florida truck since new. It was always garage, clearly. Thought about Anthony when I saw 58,000 mile bro in Marketplace. Well, John, next time you see a deal like that, don't send it to Anthony. He gets enough. Send it to me so I can rub it in his face. Especially it was in South Alabama. I could have shot up there and grabbed that thing. He would have no idea. My truck has displacement on demand. It runs fine. Okay, all Silverados, 5.3 Silverados from 07 and a half. See, I knew the early ones didn't have it. The 13 had displacement on demand. See, I'm not 100% well versed on 900s. I really never messed with them, but I appreciate that info, Daniel. And again, I mean, it's like North Stars, and I always have to explain to people, not all North Stars have head gasket issues. The really early ones in 93, 94, and 95, and anything after 2004 and a half, they pretty much don't have head gasket issues at all. It's the head bolts that pull out. They don't thread in properly from the factory on the middle years, like 96 to 2004. So what I was getting at is I'm sure not all displacement on demand trucks have lifter failure, but a lot of them do. Look at this wind. Hold on, I gotta show you. Well, I don't want to show you how messy my yard is, so just look at the tree behind me. For those of you who know me personally know I'm a hoarder, so I don't want you to see all my crap laying out here. Hold on. Reaper, don't be laughing at my Elante, man. I love Elantes. They're honestly, those of you who haven't experienced an Elante, you need to at some point in your life. They're so well built, it doesn't feel like anything that General Motors built in that time period. It's got a lot of Italian workmanship. The bodies were built by Pininfarina in Italy. They were Airbussed over to the United States and fitted with a very reliable, not very powerful, very reliable in 87 a 4.1, and then 88 through 92 4.5, and then in 93 you get the North Star, and that's the real package to have, because that's the North Star. It doesn't really have head gasket problems. And hear this wind? It's here. I'm going to stand back here by these banana trees I have, so it's a little more dramatic. Although one of them already fell over, so there we go. Now you'll see how my luck with these to come over and whack me in the head. But you should experience an Elante at some point in your life if you haven't already. They're very good cars. I'm trying to sell Anthony on them. He's not too familiar. Whoa, look at that. You can pick my head off now. Holy smokes. So I saw the Dodge Dynasty. I do. It's actually still up in New England. It's near Anthony. I always ask him to go out and take it for a Sunday cruise. And, you know, he won't be caught dead in the thing. So unfortunately, it's just neglected. Let's see what else we got. Got a lot of comments here to catch up on. Let me go faster. 4.9 is an awesome engine. All right, guys, this is what I mean. We got a band coming through right now. Look at that wind. Whoa, there goes the hat. Woo-hoo, the hair is out. Oh, I'm having too much fun with the screen. We're getting, these are probably close to 50 mile an hour gusts, 50 if I had to guess based on my prior storm experience. All right, let's, the sun's out, so it kind of throws it off. It looks like a nice day, and all of a sudden your hat just yeets right off your head. Find a V8 Explorer for that interior. Yeah, maybe, we'll see what comes around, but you couldn't get a 5.0 Explorer in the first gen, and that interior really does belong in the first gen. You could always swap, but honestly, I'm happy with the 4.0. You know, I ain't going anywhere fast. 9192s have weaker heads. That is a good point, Ryan. That is correct. That is true. I do happen to have a 92, so knock on wood for me. Well, it's got like 200,000 miles, so if it ain't cracked yet, it ain't gonna crack. You know what they say, a GM will run like crap longer than most will run at all. That's so true. I always say that as well. And my cars are a testament to that, because I don't take the best care of them, and they're still running. Be safe from Michigan. Thank you, Robert. In the backwoods. I love your Tornados. My dad drove them and spent lots of time in high school, college dates with them. Well, you know, my black Tornado, some of you may remember, I never put it on YouTube when I first bought it because I wasn't doing YouTube way back then. But when I was a freshman in college many years ago, no, actually I bought that car in high school, I think. Or I don't remember. But I bought it from a very young Flying Wheels, Craig from Flying Wheels. He was just starting out. He was probably, I don't know, 24, maybe even younger. And I bought that car from him when he just opened his dealership. Just coincidentally, I didn't know the guy. And I still have it. And I remember taking, I shouldn't say, in case my girlfriend's watching, but I remember taking females out in that car, and it always gave gave a good impression, my Tornado. Although Anthony will probably laugh at that, thinking I'm full of crap. They just like the eyes. All right, let's see what else we got here. Holds on, Iron Duke. Yep, I've got a Duke in my Fiero, man. You can't mistake that starter sound, just like the LLVs that come deliver the mail every day. Got a clean LS 400 a few years ago. Yeah, good work, Ken, getting it when you did. You know, I've had so many over the years. I used to actually sell things instead of hoarding things. I think I hit my head, and now I keep everything. So good on you for securing that. That's one of the cars I do wish I kept. Looks like a windy fall day on the Gulf Coast. Yeah, I mean, we do, you know, in the winter months, you know, all over the peninsula, we do get some pretty breezy days. But, you know, like right now, this is normal. But, you know, then you get those big gusts that come through, like right now. But it's, as I've said, for those of you who might have just joined, it's the Gulf Coast getting hammered, not me. I'm on the southeast side of Florida. I'm perfectly fine. I bought a 91 Riviera Copart. Good boy. Gotta save them all. 1,500. Non-runner. Just need a new tank. That's why I love the gamble of auction. You know, for one, it's a lot easier of a buying process. I don't have to go out and deal with people. It's just click, click, boom, and then the suspense of buying something sight unseen, or even if you see it, not, you know, really knowing, because you only get to look at them so much. I love that, man. That's like my form of gambling. Oh, I already saw Anthony's comment there. That's weird. Little kissy face. All right, man. You know, don't let the people know. Our little bromance is, you know. Dang, I always catch streams 5 minutes before the end. Well, look at, I've gone much longer, I think. So you're all set, Reaper. Be safe, brother. Looking forward to the next video adventure. My voice is like getting hoarse. I've been talking so much. Seeing what you got to drag home. Oh yeah. Keep your stay tuned, as I always say, because I've got a few more cars you guys haven't seen yet. Three more cars, and maybe 4 this week. Maybe bidding on something else. Anthony knows. This was listed as 1990 Fleetwood Brougham. Wow, that's the right one to buy, man. A 90, especially if it's got the 5.7 in it. Well, Anthony will tell you. Thanks, John. No. I don't appreciate it. As Anthony knows, and maybe some of you do, but I don't buy the rear-wheel drive caddies, because when I was a teenager and I wanted a caddy, even then they were several thousand for a half-decent one, maybe a little bit less, but I mean, I was a broke kid, so I bought a freaking $800, you know, front-wheel drive DeVille, and that's where the addiction started. To me, it's a Cadillac. You're cruising 40 miles an hour smoking a cigar. What difference does it make if the wheels spin in the front or the back? It ain't worth all the extra money to me. But, well, hold on, before I get in trouble with my sponsor here. I will say that, you know, especially cars from Anthony are really, compared to the crap that I have, they're museum pieces. So you're getting what you pay for there. Whether it's front wheel or rear wheel drive, you're getting, you know, a time capsule, a museum piece. The cars that I buy look good from 15 feet away. And that's how I like it, because I don't got to worry about them as much. Ian is trying to choke Al. No, was I choking? I don't know. I saw a Gen 1 Escalade the other day and thought of you. Looked like something you'd love. You know, I prefer the Gen 2. Maybe that's what you're thinking of. There was a Gen 1. There goes that wind again. Oh my God, don't look at my grass. I promise it's just this little portion of my yard. I can't get in here with my big ride-on mower, so this is usually the area I neglect. But yeah, you can see it's all bamboo I got right there. I lost a lot of bamboo with these winds. All right, let's get back to these comments and try to wrap this up, because I'm about at the hour mark here, and my phone's gonna die. But first gen Escalades, I mean, I think they're beautiful, but they didn't do that much to differentiate them from a Tahoe of the era. Same with the Yukon. You know, both of them were just dressed up Tahoes, and I don't really like that 5.7 Vortec as much with that Spider fuel injection, and I don't know. I feel like those can be pretty unreliable. I mean, the engine will rack up all kinds of miles, but you're always dealing with fuel injection issues and other, nonsense you don't deal with on the 5.3 or the 6.0 or the 4.8. So I never, but yes, I would certainly buy one if it was really clean, just to have it. Let's see what else we got here. No damage expected for your house. No, Liam, I'm very lucky. The storm missed me. All I got was tropical winds, like you've been seeing here in the video. So I just moved my cars out from under the trees, just so nothing would fall, no branches, but no damage here. And I think my area should be all done with the winds here this evening, so can move them all back tomorrow. Copart in Florida doesn't require a real estate license. I'm guessing you probably meant a dealer's license. It does. Uh-oh. I found my first storm damage. Look at all my extra jealousy glass. And it didn't break. That's why I love jealousy windows, because if they break, you just pop in a new piece of glass. Oh, that's my foot. Just pop in a new piece of glass. But nice. All right. Never mind. I did okay. What was I getting at here? Oh, about the dealer's license. Yeah, you do need one in Florida. Or, you know, Anthony's telling me battery because he probably wants me to hang the hell up and stop yapping. You can use a broker, Liam. They're not that expensive. And if you go on the Copart website, there's a section, it'll tell you the brokers that they work with, that they know are legitimate. They'll charge you like $200-300 on top of what you pay otherwise. So if it's something you really want and the numbers make sense, what you gotta look at with Copart is the fees, because they add up quick and they get really high. Honestly, if I had the time, I probably wouldn't buy many cars from Copart. I would just go out and find them private sale. You can almost always get a better deal. But I don't have the time for that anymore. I have a day job. Today I have off because of the weather, but I can't be going out looking at cars all the time. So it's easy for me just to pop into Copart on my lunch break, take a look at what they got, and then click bid. And, you know, pick it up the next day on my lunch break. That's the only way I'm able to keep making content for you guys, because I don't have time to be going out looking for cars on Craigslist like I used to. But yes, if you want something from Copart, you can use a broker. But between the broker and the fees, a $300 car can turn into like $1,500. So just be careful. You gotta study those fees and know them well. Ryan, I got you Al. As long as your water pump are good, you should be fine. Oh, we're talking about the Explorer. I'm like, regular water pump. Yeah, well, the water pump's no good on that truck, but I've never let it get hot. That's why I haven't been driving it. Don't get hurricanes, just bad air quality and fires. Well, no matter where you live in this beautiful nation, there's always going to be some sort of extreme weather. Get nor'easters up north in Anthony's area. You get earthquakes out in the West Coast, and in the Midwest you get twisters. So it's picking up now. I'm the weather guy. Stance. All right, let me look here. I think we're almost done with the comments, so I won't keep you all much longer. Although I do appreciate you all tuning in. Anthony might be hunting for that Bro Marketplace. Well, unfortunately for Anthony, I can get to it quicker. Although he's so well networked, to probably have somebody in Alabama beat me to it and pick it up for him. That's what happens when you do good business. You know, you have a good reputation and you get deals done. So I always commend Anthony for being a wonderful business owner and friend. How are my crops or fruits growing? These are my banana trees here. These are like Thai bananas, the smaller ones. Don't turn that into something perverted. You can see I did lose a couple, but the way these trees work is once they've what's the word I'm looking for? I guess once they've peaked and they've grown. Now this is all starting to sound really bad, but once the bananas grow, at that point the trees will just fall over, and then a new one will grow right around where they were. So I don't know if the wind took these two out, or probably was the wind because I don't see any bananas on those two trees, and I haven't picked any bananas lately. So I lost a couple banana trees. These are very heavy. They're full of water. I'm getting rained on now, actually. So let me step back in the porch and wrap this up. I'm gonna say I'm gonna wrap this up for what, like 40 minutes. I need a drink of water though, so I can't keep doing it. My voice is getting hoarser and hoarser. But yeah, my avocados are doing well. I've already harvested like 2/3 of my grove this year. I have mostly, why am I having a brain fart right now? What the heck do I have? I don't know. Donnie's, I forget what no, it's not I have some Donnie's, but I have mostly, it's on the tip of my tongue. If it comes to me, I'll say it, but most of the avocados I have, they already are past their season. But I've probably got another 20 trees out there that need to be picked right now. And remarkably, some avocados, you can use your pinky and just pull them off. You know, it depends on the variation of avocado. Fortunately, the ones that I have right now are the ones that you have to kind of yank off. So they've held on even with this wind, which I'm shocked to see. Because you want to keep them on there as long as you can before you pick them when they're ready. Oh, half flew off. God, that was like 10 minutes ago now. I've been talking so much. Battery, yep, I know, Anthony. It's probably about to die. When's the next video on the Yukon? I've already filmed a fair bit, but I've just been so busy. I got the rear shocks for it. Hear that wind going now. We got rain. Whoa, everything's going crazy. What else I have to do to that truck? I charged the AC. It's gonna need a proper charge. It was low. I figured I might get away with just throwing some Freon in it without vacuuming. But it's going to need to be vacuumed out and properly charged by a professional, or I can buy the equipment. The rain's coming now. But yeah, I'll get the Yukon. I'm going to have another couple of videos out probably before I finish the Yukon, because the Yukon, I want to get the body work done and all that, doing the best I can here. And of course, I have a day off like today, and I can't do anything outside because the wind's going crazy.